For decades, the idea of a joint Arab military alliance, sometimes nicknamed an Arab NATO, has been floated, debated, and quietly shelved. But after Israel's strike on Doha this month, one of the most dramatic escalations in years, that idea is suddenly back on the table. And this time, it's not just rhetoric. Egypt, which commands the Arab world's largest army, is pushing hard to revive a plan for a joint Arab military force. Pakistan is calling for a task force to deter and, if necessary, strike back. Iran is backing the creation of an Islamic coalition army, and Arab League diplomats are talking about rotating command structures, a Cairo-based headquarters, and even elite commando units. So, what exactly is being proposed here? And could we really see a NATO-style Arab alliance in the near future? The spark came on September 9th, when Israeli jets struck a residential compound in Doha that was hosting Hamas negotiators. The strike eliminated 5 Hamas members, a Qatari security officer, and sent shockwaves across the region. Within days, Qatar called an emergency Arab-Islamic summit. Over 2 days of meetings, leaders and foreign ministers from across the Arab world and beyond condemned Israel and demanded a united response. It was in this heated atmosphere that Egyptian diplomats dusted off a plan first tabled in 2015, a proposal to create a permanent Arab joint force. Back then, it stalled over disagreements about command and headquarters. Today, Cairo is offering to host that HQ and is even prepared to contribute around 20,000 troops to get the project moving. Under Egypt's blueprint, the force would have ground, air, and naval components, a planning council for training and logistics, and a rotating commander, with Egypt taking the first turn. A civilian secretary general would coordinate the political side. The force could deploy for peacekeeping, counter-terrorism, or collective defense if any member state came under attack. And this isn't just talk. According to Arab media, Egypt's President Abdel Fattah el-Sisi has been personally lobbying regional leaders to sign on ahead of the summit's final communique. This is not the first time we've heard talk about an Arab NATO. The United States tried to launch the so-called Middle East Strategic Alliance in 2018 to unite the Gulf states, Jordan and Egypt, against Iran. That project fizzled when Egypt pulled out and Gulf disputes, like the blockade of Qatar, made unity impossible. But today's context is very different. For one, the threat perception has shifted. Instead of Iran being the focus, Israel is now being named directly as the trigger for this initiative. Second, public anger is running high. The war in Gaza is entering its 3rd year. Israel is also fighting Hezbollah in Lebanon, has conducted strikes in Syria, and even fought a 12-day war with Iran earlier this year. To many Arab citizens, this feels like unchecked aggression, and their governments are under pressure to show they can respond. Third, there's a sense that the US is no longer a reliable security guarantor. Washington condemned the Doha strike only in lukewarm terms and failed to stop it despite its massive military presence at Al Udeid Air Base. For Arab capitals, this was a reminder that they may need to rely on their own collective muscle rather than outside powers. The list of supporters is getting longer. Egypt and Saudi Arabia are reportedly in alignment. Pakistan has gone public with its support, with Foreign Minister Ishaq Dar calling for a coordinated deterrent mechanism. Even Iran, normally a rival of the Gulf monarchies, is signaling interest in a broader Islamic coalition. Former IRGC commander Mohsen Rezai said that the only solution was forming a military bloc to defend against future Israeli strikes. The Organization of Islamic Cooperation, which brings together 57 Muslim-majority states, has made this summit a test case. Can they move beyond symbolic resolutions and create a real security mechanism? So, what would an Arab NATO actually look like in practice? Picture a standing headquarters in Cairo, staffed with multinational officers. A joint command would maintain contingency plans for threats ranging from cross-border attacks to drone strikes on energy infrastructure. Each member would contribute troops proportionate to its capabilities. Wealthier Gulf states could bankroll equipment, air defense systems, and rapid mobility assets, while countries like Egypt, Morocco, and Jordan would provide manpower. Special operations units could be trained together for hostage rescue, counter-terrorism raids, and the protection of shipping lanes, a growing priority after repeated attacks on Red Sea traffic. On paper, this would be the most ambitious military integration project in the Arab world since the Arab League's Joint Defense Treaty of 1950. Of course, building a real NATO-style alliance is easier said than done. Arab states have historically struggled to overcome sovereignty concerns. Who gets to give the order to deploy? How are costs shared? And what happens if a member refuses to join a mission? Then there are the politics. Including or excluding certain states could be divisive. Algeria and Morocco are locked in a long-running feud. Gulf states still mistrust Qatar despite the official unofficial end of the blockade. And bringing Iran into the mix would be a hard sell for Riyadh and Abu Dhabi, even if they are cautiously restoring ties. There's also the risk of escalation. A formal mutual defense pact would mean that an attack on one member, say a future Israeli strike, could legally compel all members to respond militarily. That could drag the entire region into a war. If it does move forward, an Arab NATO could change the balance of power in the Middle East. First, it would give Arab states a collective deterrent, the kind of credible military threat that could make Israel think twice about striking targets in places like Qatar or Lebanon. Second, it could reduce dependence on the US for security. A functional Arab military bloc would give the region more autonomy and more leverage when dealing with Washington. Third, it could spill over into other theaters. Joint naval patrols could protect Red Sea shipping, while combined air defense networks could shield Gulf energy infrastructure from missile and drone attacks. And finally, it would send a powerful political message that the Arab world is capable of acting as a bloc when its core interests are threatened. This moment feels different because there is both outrage and opportunity. Outrage at Israel's strike on Doha, which many see as crossing a red line, and opportunity because for once the major Arab players are aligned on the need for a collective response. History shows that attempts at Arab military unity have faced significant hurdles. Whether this time will be any different depends on whether Cairo, Riyadh, Doha, and others can agree on command, financing, and, crucially, rules of engagement. If they succeed, we could be looking at the birth of the first truly credible joint Arab force in modern history. If they fail, this may go down as just another summit declaration that changes nothing. Either way, the fact that the conversation has shifted from think tank papers to real summit proposals shows just how much the regional security environment has changed. And with every new strike, every new escalation, the pressure to turn that idea into reality is only going to grow.